Today I'm going to show you some affordable lake towns in the United States. Now, affordable is obviously relative to your financial situation. If you're a part-time Walmart greeter with student loans and a video poker addiction, there's probably not a lot you can afford as far as real estate goes. But the median home price in the United States is $428,000 as of the first quarter of 2022. These are all decent lake towns that are well below that median price. Lake towns or any place near the water are supposed to be expensive, not these places. They're breaking the real estate rules. Sometimes I guess it's okay to break the rules, right? Like I always do, I'll give you the median price and the realistic one that I get from what's available on Zillow and like Redfin. I've tried to explain median to people many times before, and there's always an argument. Maybe I need to get Bry, the math guy, to explain that too. But just know that median is different than average. Median's really only used by real estate agents and banks and crap like that. Got it? Get it? Good. Let's take a look. Number 10, Lake Ariel, Pennsylvania. I like this area. It is located not too far from my favorite small town in the United States, Honesdale, Pennsylvania. It's in the Pocono Mountains. Lake Ariel is a small town with a population of about 15,000 residents. This area is affordable, safe, and beautiful. The whole northeastern part of Pennsylvania is just great. I love it. Since I mentioned that I love Honesdale, Pennsylvania, and this Lake Ariel is in that area, I know at least 6 people that have moved to the area. So the actual Lake Ariel, not the town, but the Lake Ariel is in the town itself. It also touches Roaming Woods Lake, and it's not too far from Lake Wallenpaupack, which is bigger. The lakes around here, they're like everywhere. Those two are kind of a good size, but Lake Wallenpaupack is pretty good size. The median home price here is $307,000. Now, realistically, they have a lot of homes that are right on the water, and those can be anywhere from $550,000 on up. But they have a lot of homes that are, let's say, a half a block in from one of the lakes that go for anywhere from $220,000 to $275,000. And most of these properties aren't like right on top of each other. There's a little bit of distance between each other, maybe some woods, things like that. If you like trees and a lake, this is a great option. Pennsylvania does get some pretty harsh winters, especially this area. But other than that, the summers and the spring and the fall aren't terrible here. Actually, summers are amazing. Number 9, Spirit Lake, Iowa. Spirit Lake, Iowa is in northern Iowa, not too far from the Minnesota border, and about an hour and a half drive east of Sioux Falls, South Dakota. The town of Spirit Lake sits just south of Big Spirit Lake on East Okoboji Lake. There's another lake over here called West Okoboji Lake. This is a great place to live and spend some of your summer. I mean, they've got golf courses, they've got a theme park. This is one of those areas of any state that actually blows up during the summer months. Spirit Lake, Iowa has a population of just over 5,000 residents. The entire area has a lot more. There's a lot of small towns all around these lakes, but Spirit Lake has about 5,000 residents. They have a median home price of about $301,000. And honestly, that's about what most homes here go for, somewhere in the $300,000 area. They have some obviously more expensive ones because it is a lake town, but they also have some that are like $170,000. They got a couple for $200,000. So they've got a wide range, but I would say you're probably looking to spend $300,000 on something that's decent, nice, and livable. And it's in Iowa, so you know it's going to be relatively safe, and you know it's a great place to raise kids. Number 8, Lake Placid, New York. Lake Placid, New York is like a hidden gem, even though they did host the Olympics in 1980. During the summer months, this is a great place for fly fishing. The rivers all around there, climbing, the different cliffs, they got water sports, and it's actually the 2-time home of the Winter Olympics. They had it in the 1980 Olympics, and they also had it in the 1932 Olympics. Most people only remember the 1980 Olympics, unless, of course, you're like an Olympic buff. Lake Placid has a full-time population of about 2,200 residents. Of course, this area swells during the summer, and actually a little bit during the winter when people start skiing and things like that. Now, this one's a little bit weird. Their median listing price, they say, is about $279,000. That's not, I don't think that's accurate. Now, we said we're going to try and keep anything under $100,000 less than the national average, and so their median fits that bill. Realistically, not so much. I looked around, and the things they have for sale right now all start around $400,000 and work their way up. $279 really seems a little off, but they do have some homes that you could find, older homes that are about $400,000, $425,000, that area. But Lake Placid is fun, it's relatively safe, and it is beautiful. Number 7, Wolfeboro, New Hampshire. Wolfeboro is in New Hampshire, so right away you know it's going to be beautiful. It's hard to find a place in New England that isn't beautiful. I mean, outside of Connecticut, of course. Wolfeboro sits on Lake Winnipesaukee. It's got lakes all around this area, but that's the big one. It's about an hour north of Manchester, New Hampshire, and they have a little over 6,000 residents. This is another place that's great during the summer, but there's also a lot to do during the winter. A smaller lake called Lake Wentworth is on the east side of town. They say the median listing price here is about $277,000. I think that's a little unrealistic. They have some lots that are for sale, and that brings the real estate prices down, the median at least, I should say. They do have a few homes that are going for about $250,000 to $300,000, and it looks like in the last couple months, 6 to 9 months, they've sold a handful of homes around that price. Those are kind of away from the lake, so they're not actually on the water or anything like that. If you want anything on the water here, you're looking at $550,000 on up, which if you're in someplace like California or Seattle, you're going, wow, that sounds really cheap. If you're in Mississippi, you probably said, who could pay $500,000 for a house? Give me some sweet tea, my pellet gun. I think I just saw a dinner squirrel. Number 6, Marquette, Michigan. Marquette, Michigan is in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, and it sits on Lake Superior. This is pretty much a lake resort type town. This is the type of place that comes with a warning. If you want to be a full-time resident someplace and you don't like the cold, don't even consider this place. Marquette, Michigan, at parts of the winter, sort of look like Hoth. Remember that from Star Wars, the ice planet? Yeah, it gets like that here. But the summers are amazing. I mean, other than the mosquitoes. There's a lot of really good lake towns in Michigan. I mean, they have over 3,000 miles of shoreline, but this one's out of the way. It's small and it's affordable. They have a population of about 20,000 residents, and they say their median listing price here is about $270,000, which that one, it's close, but you could find homes for under that. There's some nice livable homes in Marquette that are going for around $200,000. Sure, they're not like on the water, they're in town a little bit, but they're decent. Number 5, Winstead, Connecticut. Winstead, Connecticut sits on Highland Lake in northern Connecticut, about 45 minutes northwest of Hartford. Winstead sits at the foothills of the Berkshire Mountains, and it's home to Highland Lake. It's great to fish, water ski, swim, whatever you want to do. Winstead has a median home list price of $260,000, and I looked around, that's kind of accurate. But there are a ton of homes that are in the town and not, too close to the water, maybe half a mile or whatever. They're going for like $150,000 that really don't look that bad. Now, they do have their fair share of run-down homes that are going for like $120,000 and below. Stay away from those, unless you're, itching to pick up hepatitis or something like that. Number 4, St. Mary's, Ohio. St. Mary's is a lake town that sits about an hour north of Dayton, Ohio, so it's just far enough away where you don't get none of that Dayton stink on you. In case you don't know, Dayton, Ohio is not the best place to be living. But St. Mary's sits right on the shores of Grand Lake St. Mary's, and it has a population of just a little over 8,000. They say the median list price in St. Mary's is $239,000. That's a little high from what I'm looking at. They have plenty of nice, livable homes that start off around $99,000. And, a really nice one that's under $100,000 is going to be hard to find. But you could find decent, livable ones that are in between $140,000 and $160,000. That is not bad for being a lake town. Sure, it's in Ohio, and Ohio comes with its challenges like employment and things like that, harsh winters. But St. Mary's doesn't seem that bad. Their stats are okay. They've got a low-cost living. We're not getting into crime stats and all that on this one, but I will tell you right now, the only stat that isn't good in this place is their employment numbers. So great for people that are working from home or retirees, I would say. Their crime rate's like 87% below the national average, and their cost of living is about 20% below the national average. Their housing is 40% below the national average. This is not a bad place to live if you don't mind cold winters. Number 3, Sulfur, Oklahoma. What an attractive name for a town, Sulfur. Sulfur sits about an hour and a half south of Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, and it is right near a place called Little Niagara. This is a pretty cool little waterfall, swimming hole type thing that's fed with some of the cleanest water you'll ever get. There's a spring right up from the falls. It's, the water quality is amazing. It looks like fun. It's what a lot of people do in Sulfur on a nice hot summer day. The lake they have here is called Lake of the Arbuckles, and it's south of of town, but they also got Rock Creek flowing right through town, and they have some springs which feed Little Niagara Falls. Buffalo Springs and Antelope Springs. You can go there and sit and relax. Now, normally rural towns in Oklahoma don't have the best stats. Sulfur is not doing bad. I mean, their cost of living, they're low, their crime rate's low, their employment isn't horrible, but it's not great. Their housing's affordable. They don't have the best schools. And that's according to Area Vibes. They give them a big F. So other than schools, you have a really nice place to live with really affordable housing. You can get a trailer for $79,000, but you don't want that. You can get homes here for in between $150,000 and $250,000 that are decent, ready to move into. They're nice. They're not falling down. I think the most expensive house I saw in that whole city is about $550,000. Maybe they have a couple others that are a little more expensive than that, come with a bunch of land, but $550,000 is maxing out in this town. Their median home list price is $224,000. So, they got a lot that's lower than that. But if you like outdoor activities and you want to live in a nice place that's affordable, give Sulfur a look. Number 2, the Wisconsin Dells. Now, I've been to Wisconsin Dells a few times. I've never thought there was any problem with it, and I thought it would be a nice place to live, and I thought it would be a lot more expensive. It is not. They got a little crime, but that's about it. Most of their other stats are doing pretty good. Cost of living's relatively low, housing's relatively low, and they got some crime. Big deal. Now, they do have a lake in town. It's not that big, but they have the Wisconsin River right there, and there's an area right outside of town that is pretty wide, almost like a lake, but it's still considered part of the Wisconsin River. Again, this is one of those situations, if you don't like cold weather, this one's not a good deal for you. But the median listing price in the Wisconsin Dells is $199,950. That is not bad. You can get condos at Lake Delton, which is the lake that's in town, for the low 100,000s. Not bad. All right, before we get to number 1, don't forget we have another channel called On This Day. There's a link down below. Now on to number 1. And number 1, Ashland, Wisconsin. Again, we're back in Wisconsin. This is a great place to live. I mean, the entire state is, normally better than most other states. I mean, their only problem they have is Milwaukee. Milwaukee's got some crime. The rest of the state always has lower crime than just about any other state outside of New England. Ashland is located on the south side of Lake Superior, about an hour and 20 minutes east of Duluth, Minnesota. Again, this is another cold place. It's in Wisconsin, but there's plenty to do both summer and winter. If you want an affordable house and a lake town, this is the cheapest you're going to get. That's still decent. The median home list price in Ashland, Wisconsin is $146,000. That's the median. They have a lot of really nice homes that are right around $150,000. Livable, they're not run down, about $150,000. You can go lower than that and have to do a bunch of work, but to get a decent one, $150,000, and if you want to live large, you can go all the way up to $220,000. They have some homes here that aren't the greatest, $34,000, $50,000, but they look livable. You could move into those and have to do a bunch of work, but they look livable for that price. Alright, if any of you are thinking about moving to a town like this, there's a link down below to Home and Money. They have all the tools you'll need to find a local realtor and mortgage calculators and all that good stuff's on their website. There's a link down below. Alright everyone, have a great day. Be nice to each other.